Pop off the fireworks, ladies and gentlemen, because it is day 4 of the qualifiers of the 3rd circuit. This is our last circuit of the Wild Rift Summoner Series, brought to you by Riot, Wisdom, and Nursery. One and only Tier 1 Wild Rift Esports action here in North America. This region has been an absolute blast to watch unfold, Smax. And, at this point, if you've been watching, you know me and Smax, you know us. We're the cool gamers that have been watching a majority of the games here, and we've been just absolutely hyped to see all the action unfold. And to recap everyone for those any newcomers that are joining us for the stream for the very first time on the Wild Rift Summoner Series, we've got to take you back on what this summer and, getting into the fall has been all about, Smax.
So the cool gamers, self-proclaimed, will take you through the end of this 3rd circuit qualification. We are right there in the 3rd box. It is September 14th. We are alive and well, and we are about to find out who the top 2 are going to be in this top 8 bracket today. And top 2 matters because you get into Major 3 and you compete for that $10,000 prize pool, and you compete for spots to get into the NA Regional Championship in October. How exciting is that?
Well, Smax, I will say what makes it even more exciting is that between the 3 majors that add up to $10,000 each, plus the $70,000 at the regional championships, we got $100,000 that has been on the line here in the Wild Rift Summoner Series. It has been a great circuit or just overall debut of this split so far. And every circuit that we've watched unfold within July, August, and now September, going into October, there have been many stories that have been super exciting to watch unfold. And obviously for the fans of North America, we already know that the 2 powerhouses in Tribe and Enemy, they have been so far the strongest competitors that we have. But it's not about them right now because they already qualified and they're waiting for the regional championship. Right now, we got a 3rd major this weekend. And in order to finalize the last 2 seeds, last 2 spots, it's going to be 2 of the top 8 teams that we have from this bracket today.
And based on this bracket, if you win your 1st round and your 2nd round, then you are there qualified for that major to be competing against Immortals, Cloud9, Sentinels, Grilled Cheese, Johto is Cuter, and Yawn. And that's happening this weekend. But these teams can't care about this weekend quite yet. They've got to get through this gauntlet of a bracket. And I'm super excited because we got to cover some of these teams just yesterday. I feel like most of the teams that we watched on stream qualified for the top 8. But unfortunately, we do have some sad news. One of those teams that we did see qualify yesterday, Lunchables, did have some roster unfortunate times. They did not qualify, or they qualified, but they couldn't play today in the top 8. So in their place is Team Snow. We might be able to see them later on if they win their 1st round. But yeah, unfortunate to Lunchables. But moving past the sad news, we've got a matchup that we're about to cover, Raafaa.
It's going to be Haters and Navanhua. Now, I know we had, there's a poll out there, and there's another match that's selected, but we're going to go with this one just because of there's some other roster technicalities that we're running into at the moment. But Navanhua and Haters are all ready to go. And for us, Smax, we saw a little bit of Navanhua in the top 4 from last week's qualifier where Alk Battery and Kangas were casting all the action. They barely could not make it, but now they're looking to run the gauntlet again and see if they can qualify into the top 2, whereas Haters, we already talked a lot about Haters because not only this is a team brand that we're used to seeing already, but the faces on here have come from many places, mainly a kind of a conglomeration of not only some Brawl Stars, but also some Musketeers. But then, of course, you're also adding in Apex, who was the forefront of the Apex's cute now Johto is cuter roster.
Very exciting team to cover. We got to see some gameplay of them yesterday. Very competitive stuff. I feel like all of our series yesterday were super competitive, which makes me super excited to get into the games today. But as you said, Rafa, we didn't actually get to watch Navanhua play yesterday, but we've been talking to Alec Battery and Kangas, and they've had some very, very nice things to say about this team. They mentioned that they were super, super close to getting into that top 2 and not even playing in this tournament, as they would have taken over Johto is Cuter or Yon to get there. Really excited to see what they've got to offer for us today, because they, alongside with some other teams in this top 8 bracket, talking about teams like Code Blue as well, really just jumped into the 3rd circuit specifically. They didn't play before, and them as these newcomers on the block have been really putting in the work. They've been very strong teams, strong performers, and I think this matchup that we're covering first in the quarterfinals is going to highlight that tremendously well.
I do want to apologize for something. I misspoke. Haters is not a conglomeration of OG Brawl Stars and Musketeers. I don't know why, but I got Rock Solid and Haters mixed up in my brain. I apologize to wildrift diehard fans in the chat if Raafaa had an oopsie, but it's okay. Haters still a very, very cool roster nonetheless, and going through, I think when we looked at the roster yesterday when we first saw them in action, Vale was one of the few mainstays that still stayed on the roster from past iterations of Haters. But I think one of the things that I'm super excited about is Apex, man. I mean, this person is such a damn good Gragas player. Like, if they don't ban the Gragas away, then that's just pure straight up disrespect from Navanhua. Like, I don't... The explosive casks that they can pull out, dynamite. Absolutely insane. That's the first ban that's got to come out.
One of the big staple Gragas players, I'd say, in the North American meta. We've seen pretty much every Baron laner that is worth their salt is pulling this pick out and performing on it. But Apex, one of the strongest ones at that. So for him against Navanhua, that's going to be picked, as you said, likely going to be banned. But if not, then you got to watch out for that one. It's very likely to be picked right away. But just touching on the draft meta as a whole, I think this has been somewhat of a shift, I'd say. We actually did see some Thresh gameplay in the bracket, or in the group stage yesterday in the top 16. We didn't see a win of it on the stream quite yet, but another support we've seen has been just taking over the meta in its entirety, and that is Nami. Nami looks to be the strongest support in this batch of teams specifically, but also I've been watching and paying attention to this pick across the world. Nami's just so good. So if you put your priority in this champion, not only are you getting a strong team fighter with the tidal wave, but the enchanter power of the healing and the buff up with the Tidecaller's blessing, really, really potent champion.
Nami and Wild Rift versus PC Nami just hits different, man, because the map is smaller, the choke points are easier to just really either start off a team fight well or change the momentum, completely 180 the swing of a fight into your favor, just based off of how well a tidal wave can really catch enemies off guard, because it is very hard to dodge out when the choke points are so small and all the characters are just occupying all of that space. I mean, smaller map means the AoE abilities from champions like Nami just hit better, or hit better, I should say, and it had a greater impact. Another thing that has kind of cropped up outside of the Nami is we saw a support pick yesterday that it wasn't it. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my train of thought. Rakan has been kind of propping up as like another champion that, despite not having the lane supremacy that a Nami will have, you have all this fantastic engage power, and when we ever really look at like some of the Rakan players from the other teams that are already qualified for this major, I think when you look at players like Vale, whether it's the Rakan or the Galio, people that want to go make the primary engage first, it could be more up their alley in the forefront of how they can start turning the games around.
Vale played, I think, all of their games on the stream anyway on this Galio pick you So clearly Vale is very practiced on this and wants to go be that frontline sort of disruptor, I think is the right word for Galio support. So that's definitely a strategy that haters, I think, will look to employ again. We've seen their team fights especially were a really big key point for haters. And for Navanhua, at least for this week, we haven't gotten to see them quite yet. So we're going to find out what their main strengths are going to be against haters. Because, as a reminder, Navanhua did 2-0 their group. I believe they were in Group 2 yesterday. So we're looking forward to this one. Because I believe we are... Oh, we're getting some word from our production that Navanhua is actually playing some really crazy lane dominant champions. They just showed us one of their craziest drafts, which was a Draven Thresh lane that they played last week. So that's pretty exciting. Draven Thresh is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of power in the lane specifically.
If it was with not this time from last week, then according to our roster sheets, then that was their sub. Their sub pulled out a Draven? That's nuts, man.
You got a Draven player on your team, man, and you gotta pull that out. This is just the champion that can have like the highest highs from the marksman position. He doesn't have like the same flashy mechanics as something like an Ezreal where you're hitting all your skill shots and you're dodging things with the arcane shift, but what he does provide is just lane dominance and consistent damage from specifically auto attacks, and I think that's something to keep in mind for Navanhua as we're going to be seeing them today. We're also another note from our production is that they don't like Varus, so that's been an interesting trend over the course of yesterday. I'd say teams aren't as keen as some others to pick the Varus. We even saw some people in the Twitch chat were very upset about this. They're like, why are you picking Tristana? Pick Varus instead.
The Tristana ban is not real, right? I mean, I don't know. The Void had a pretty comfortable game on the Tristana yesterday once it finally let through. I mean, sometimes it's more about comfort picks rather than what the rest of the world deems meta. Although, I mean, there's a really strong argument for Varus just being such high priority, right? I mean, you have guaranteed lane dominance, you have long range poke, you have versatile builds, so you can adapt to really any game. Obviously, the Yumu's Muramana build has been the most successful so far, but there are games, right, where if you already have a lot of physical damage and they start to itemize into a bunch of beefy frontliners or tanks, then lethality is not going to really cut it always, right? So sometimes you need to go for more of an on-hit build, which is possible. We've even seen inklings of AP Varus in some games as well, which was kind of cool just to see unfold, because then with the blight damage then stacked on top of it, then I don't know, man. It just makes for some cool combinations. I think Varus, just the flexibility that you get, despite us seeing mostly lethality builds all the time, it's always there, right? And I think that adds into what makes Varus such a strong pick for, many of the top teams, as well as you also have agency and being able to determine when you want to pick fights thanks to Chain of Corruptions as well.
Well, if Navanhua aren't going to be the team to pick this champion, then they might have to consider banning it, as haters are prone to that pick alongside other powerful ones like Happy's Rengar. That was really fun. That was a great game. I know that marksman players don't really like playing against the Rengar, but it's always just a fun time. If he's not like the biggest meta champion in the game, then like once in a while Rengar is just it's perfectly fine to watch anyway.
Yo, watching really dope Rengar plays is actually so satisfying, because if you go for like the full one-shot build, then you just see Rengar like looming around some poor, helpless, squishy member. They jump and then just dead. Full one shot, full rotation, right? Cast all three of your abilities, get the Empowered Savagery as well, and then boom, dead. Now, there have been some adaptations. We've seen some Rengar players both in this week as well as last week's qualifiers, where I think it was the first Rengar game we saw within North America, and they went for a Black Cleaver into full tank build, which for me, I was like, man, it's not the one-shot build. It's not as exciting. But I do understand the logic behind it, because you know, you're just being a frontliner. You're trying to absorb as much damage as you can, and you're still getting ability haste within some of the items that you're getting. So that makes sense. Now, regarding this draft, though, Draven was banned as a respect. I don't know if that was specific to not this time, or if 80 Carry MB also has a Draven pocket pick lined up. But they do recognize that Apex's Gragas is pretty damn good, so they take it away for Hugh Vietnam.
It's going to be Vale's Galio once more. Like you said, the Gragas removal is really solid against Apex as well. And yeah, the Draven ban is pretty good against Navanhua. If there's ever a risk, then you want to remove that one away. But without Draven, looks like Navanhua are just going to go full force on the scaling. They've got both Corki and Ziggs. So really, they've got a very strong backline for themselves. Something I'm kind of concerned about, though, Raafaa, is now with Navanhua's draft, they've got all magic damage. You're going to need to find some physical damage, probably just in jungle, right? And I mean, it is Jarvan. They do go with that, but Jarvan's not really the consistent physical damage champion that I'd like to see. And against Galio as well, this is the perfect tank to be picking against magic damage. Navanhua don't have a very diverse composition in terms of their damage profile, but you know what we do have in this game is 2 enchanters.
We have a Nami for that way, and it's actually going to be the Seraphine for Vale. I thought it potentially could have been a Seraphine mid lane just to match up against Ziggs, since Ziggs doesn't necessarily offer that much kill pressure in lane, so there's a potential for Seraphine to get a little bit more econ and farm up in the mid lane. I'm trying to match the head bobs that you're going on right now, but I feel like I'm slightly off rhythm. But now that you have Andrew on the Galio, not only is going to get a little bit more econ, he's going to be sustaining. He's going to be a stronger frontline for haters. So I wonder if Nimble decides to opt into a on-hit build with Kai'Sa, if that even works or can exist. If you go like Blade of the Rune King, Wit's End, he could build enough. Yeah, could build up enough resistances. You do have a solid front line that you're trying to chew through in Nam and Hugh Vietnam.
I think the biggest thing here, like you said, is the Galio's getting money and experience for himself. He's not support. So when you think about what Galio typically does, it's probably going to be a Rod of Ages. I don't think that changes. But afterward, you can get away with things like the Abyssal Mask, perhaps, is a pretty solid option. You get to deal more magic damage in your area, and you just get a bunch of magic resistance to work against Corki, Ziggs, and Gragas. So, not bad idea, as showing haters have some flexibility with their champion pool. We saw Vale play this champion more often yesterday, but adapting to the situation, Andrew showing that champion pool still exists for him.
So far, some standard clears from both of the junglers, Red into Raptors. Now, Hape is going to go for the aggressive potential mid lane shove into commanding control for the bottom River Crab. Whereas Nam he's doing something that most of the junglers that we saw from yesterday, crossing from Red Raptors into the blue buff, getting level 3. However, look at the aggression from Hape. He's forcing the priority and trying to go for the Scuttle Crab to make Nam have to traverse back from his blue buff all the way towards the bottom half of the map in order to get that Scuttle Crab. And now this puts Hugh Vietnam in a bit of a pickle because he can't step up because there's currently 3 members in the area.
It's not something that you typically get to do as Galio, where you get to roam into the river and help out your jungler, but he actually got a pretty nice push right off the bat against Ziggs. Ziggs well known for his wave clear, but perhaps not available quite yet in the lane. Buddha just to move over now and spot out that this blue buff is being taken, but there's not really a whole lot that he can do about that. Nam, of course, getting the response onto the blue buff is going to be okay with this. A vertical jungle is perfectly serviceable as long as you're not fighting against the Xin Zhao, but I don't think Hugh is going to have much of a choice once this dive commences.
Yeah, Hugh Vietnam had already put the ward down, so he knew that a dive was inevitable, especially since that Nam was not quite there. Oh, but they want to go for it. Apex has already hit level 5, and before Nam can get in there, Baron Laner has already fallen for first blood.
Nice dive again, even with that ward placed by Hugh. Just had to run away, and he went back, but hold on.
Oh! Well, you flash forward for the Cataclysm. Hero's Entrance might give up a knockup, but it's going to be huge damage with the Mega Inferno Bomb. Buddha in the 1v1 now with Andrew. One more on attack. That's going to be Navon Hua picking up 3.
Triple kill for Buddha. That's a quick 3,000 gold before 3 minutes for this Ziggs. He gets to push in this wave and buy his first item in its full completion, most likely. Even pushing for another wave. Buddha so far ahead now on this Ziggs. That's a massive problem for haters, because like we said before, yeah, you can go for magic resistance later, but there isn't really a magic resistance item that you want first. So this Ziggs is going to be hurting so hard with that Luden's Echo come these Drake and Rift Herald fights. Excellent turnaround on that dive that otherwise was a complete head-scratcher.
You know, something that we talked about, the Luden's changes coming in to this patch yesterday. We mentioned how before, Rod of Ages was just an overall stat-efficient, a better AP item. Yes, it doesn't spike as early, but the stats that you get once the 10 minutes pass just make up for the difference. However, because of the changes to Luden's, not only you can go for it and it's a good rush, but the extra penetration you get on top of it as well, the extra burst damage, turns Ziggs from a scaling threat into a threat that is just online right now. And so haters have to be careful because they're trying to go for this Rift Herald, and Navon Hua is not going to let them have an easy answer. Tidal Wave comes through, Smax.
I really like this from Navon Hua to engage like this. They're trying to keep pushing forward, though. Hugh has to flash away from the Xin Zhao. So much damage trying to be pulted in. Crescent Sweep made it difficult, but not difficult enough. That's another 3 kills now for Navon Hua, pushing out the marksman. Honey Fruit might be enough. Can they get underneath this turret and kill Nimble? They're not going to try to do it. They already take the fight. They already take this Rift Herald. And okay, Nam didn't quite die the Herald. It's all things Navon Hua.
They caught out Andrew in the rotation with that beautiful bubble, and therefore the rest of the haters don't get to set up proper battle lines, because when you think about it, this is a great front-to-back team composition if you're able to buy space. That Encore from Vale bought a lot of time, but the rest of the haters weren't set up to really follow and make that play a more cohesive combo there. And the rest of the haters, they get pushed out, they lose on the Rift Herald, now they're trying to fight for this dragon, but looks like Navon Hua are going to get this one as well.
More disengage options for Navon Hua. I just really love that they're forcing the issue on both these objectives, because like we said before, Buddha is ridiculously strong with this Ludens, and they're just flexing their muscles on either objective that haters attempt to go for. They are not content to go for a trade. They know they're strong now, so they're gonna fight now.
Yeah, look, everyone has, apart from that way, everyone has their first items already online. Ludens, Black Cleaver, Essence Reaver, and Sunfire Cape. The only one that had one completed on haters was the Rod of Ages. Black Cleaver has just been completed by Hape, but he didn't have it for the fight. This Rift Herald clashing into the bottom turret gives them first brick as well. It's a huge spike of gold just under 6 minutes.
Both scaling marksman, quote-unquote, is Ziggs. I'd say it's still a marksman online for Navon Hua, as they've got the second item coming in soon for Ziggs. Buddha already with 4 kills is absolutely ridiculous. They can push any of these turrets, and now they're really opening up the map. You see the lanes are just whatever you want them to be, really. And for Navon Hua, they want Ziggs and Corki to be taking turrets left, right, and center.
The haters are, despite all the successful fights from Navon Hua, they're not that far behind. It is still, for the most part, a 2,000 gold lead for Navon Hua, but haters still have plenty of ground to make up for. Really, the only people that are insanely ahead is this Ziggs. Buddha almost a solid 1,000 over their respective opponent in Andrew, but Andrew's starting to work on that death cap second. So it's not going to be the Abyssal Mask. It's not worrying about magic resist. It's worrying about, all right, you know what, we're behind. We can't worry about resistances now anymore. We have to just pack a lot of damage so that we can go for the shutdown bounties.
That is one way to think about it, and that is the way the haters are deciding to, but it's not what I would have done personally. I think the magic resistance is really valuable. Another questionable thing that's going on, I'd say, yes, Navon Hua are winning and their mechanics look really strong, but I don't think this is the game for a Black Cleaver on Jark. You're not really providing armor shred to all your mages on this team. It doesn't do a whole lot, so it's a pretty selfish item that isn't the best, I'd say, for. But you know, that's completely. He is wanting to deal damage in his own right, and I think that's respectable.
You know, I think it would actually. I would advocate for just a straight up Trinity Force, no cap. Because if you want to do damage, a Black Cleaver, you're supposed to be shredding armor for another like physical damage carry, right? But he is the only physical damage carry because most of Corki's auto attacks are magic damage anyway. So if you just go for Trinity Force and just look to just get it makes you a decent fighter as Jarvan. So because no one is really building armor on the side of haters. So
well, they're not building either resistance quite yet, but they will be getting magic resistance eventually. You have to imagine. For haters, you think about what their scaling entails for them. I'd say for the most part they have this Seraphine with really strong engages. You have the Encore to weave through an entire fight. It's not quite the same as a tidal wave for Nami, but. Isn't it, though? It is kind of the same ability, mechanically speaking. As long as you're hitting people with it, it doesn't have the same reach unless you are actually connecting onto champions, friend or foe. Nice fun thing about Seraphine's ult. But, yeah, I'd say both of those champions do effectively the same thing in a team fight. The difference right now is that Veil is actually going for a more enchanter-based build. You can see that is a... Staff of Flowing Waters, trying to reduce the cooldowns of the front line.
The other thing, too, is Max, notice how just until now, Nimble didn't have tier 2 boots, and he's going to get locked up. Beautiful Killer Instinct over the Cataclysm wall, but a flash from Hugh Vietnam catches out Nimble. And now that's the back line completely separated from the rest of the fight. Haters, though, looking for the re-engage. Buddha is going to go down. That's a huge shutdown going over to the members of Haters. And now they might be able to turn things around because 3 have just been eliminated from Navwan Hua.
They just didn't have the engage that I thought they did at all. Jarvan Cataclysm onto 2 members, but the kite is so huge for Haters. And we saw an excellent encore for Veil, landing onto 3 members around this dragon as well. Haters can stop the scaling of Navwan Hua. Just an amazing display of hesitancy for them. And hesitancy, I mean that in the best way. I suppose the better word is patience rather than hesitancy, but... Yeah, I really love that play for them. This is showing us the strength of this Seraphine counterpick into Nami. You have another flavor of the Nami that you can go for.
Well, Haters, they were slightly down 2,000 gold, and now they're the ones that are ahead by 2,000 gold. How about that? Huge shutdowns when you pick up someone super fed like Buddha means that you're able to claw your way back into the lead. And now Haters have a dragon apiece. They've been able to eliminate 3 off of that push as well. It's huge things for Haters, and now a lot of their items are coming online. Look, dude, Andrew is going for a full, like, apart from the Rod of Ages giving you durability, this is a straight-up glass cannon build from the Galio.
It's pretty fun stuff. It's one word for it.
Chad Galio, baby.
Chad Galio, indeed. He's flexing his muscles there.
Demacia! I'm all Petricite, baby!
Is that what he says? It's all
he doesn't
Petricite?
say baby, but he does say the other part, yeah. Galio is actually one of the funniest champions in the game. He's got some really good lines.
I gotta stretch my wings. It's like, my middle name is Justice. Galio Justice Justice.
Wait, really?
That is canonically his full name, yes. Galio Justice Justice.
Imagine having Justice in your name twice. That's Justice squared right there. And he'll, so you know, if you finna square up, he'll Justice punch you in the mouth, dude. Man, that's brazy, bro. Shout out.
He's dealing a lot of damage in this game. And he's going to need to as well on this front line. If you can survive the Jarvan combo, as we just saw from Haters, then, I mean, the teamfight after that is super easy. You don't have to worry as much once the Cataclysm is out. You really have so many healing tools for this. Renekton and Xin Zhao have amazing self-peel and sustain in the middle of a fight. Galio is apparently just going to one-shot you. And then you've got Seraphine ultimate weaving through your entire team, but I mean, Navanhua, they're not going to engage on you anymore. They're instead going to engage on Baron, and nice redemption. Oh,
Yeah, Redemption spots it out, so they know they're coming in. Can Happy get into the line?
Whoa!
Oh, flash in the wall. Oh,
What?
Andrew stole it with the Winds of War, and now Navanhua are on the retreat. It's full-on panic mode. It's a disaster for the blue side, man.
Oh.
Navanhua tried to sneak the Baron, but 2k HP. And now Haters, they are surely in the lead with now 7,000 on their side.
that was such a whirlwind of emotions right there, Rafa, because Navanhua, they had it so close, and Xin Zhao for Happy flashed over the wall, but he was booted out by a well-timed Corki package from Kelvin. That was so good, but then Galio steals it anyway, and Haters just won the game. Huh?
Just like that, you get Baron, one push, and you just full-on commit. I don't remember Haters being that decisive before, because in the series that we saw them yesterday, there's a couple games where like it took them a while. We had to go the full distance towards the Elder Dragon, but they got that Baron off the flip, and they staggered the deaths one by one, and they said, "Hey guys, we got enough time. Just run it down, end the game right here, right now."
That is ridiculous. That was a 13-minute game that we just watched. I was ready for that to go the distance. I was ready because Buddha was getting scaled up. Kelvin was getting scaled up. These two late-game carries for Navanhua were ready. Triple kill early game for Ziggs. Haters don't care. They do not care at all. They will get over the pit. Will steal the Baron with Galio. I'm going to have to go back and watch that play again. I'm going to have to slow it down to like 0.1 or something to see like how low it actually got, because that was a miracle steal from Andrew. And then the team fight after that too is amazing. Well played for Haters.
Yeah, and it almost seemed like Navanhua were understanding that, okay, you know what? They won that huge fight. They're kind of back in the game. We don't want to take any unnecessary fights. Let's just play the scaling game. And they were fine handshaking, trading waves back and forth, because the Ziggs Corki composition just gets stronger and stronger with each item power spike. And then they were like, actually, you know what? We saw them on the bottom side of the map. Let's just rush Baron. We have enough to do it. And it's like, okay, well, and to their credit, they were close, but a good redemption spots them out. And
this reminded me of that tweet that I had about a month ago, where I just said, I'm convinced that it is wrong to take Baron Nashor in solo queue 100% of the time. Because if that happens to you, it just instantly loses you the game, as shown by Haters right there. Well done to Haters. But if you go for Baron and you haven't actually put in the preparation beforehand, even if you get a miracle Corki package to push the enemy jungler out of the base, it's still not consistent enough.
I don't know how that happened, by the way.
It was so good. That was really good from Kelvin. I'm genuinely super impressed that he was able to do that. But I mean, Galio, you had to knock away both of them, it turns out.
No spine necessary. I guess that is why Andrew went the full glass cannon Galio, because he knew that at 12 minutes into the game, they're going to do Baron, and my Winds of War is going to do a crap ton of damage. And he sold it. And that's the end of that story. Going into game 2, I imagine that Navanhua will also want to maintain blue side, which it is confirmed they have selected once again. I don't think anything was wrong with the draft, to be honest. I truly think that maybe you can change out. No, I don't know. I think the draft was okay because they had a really good setup. Jarvan plus Ziggs plus Corki is also just a really strong combo, right? Because you can Cataclysm them down, and then you throw the bomb on top of it, and it's almost guaranteed every single time. I think the only time that they lost a fight was when they overextended and overcommitted onto Nimble, and they didn't have the restraint to call it off. Like, once they get the killer instinct down, then they flash away. You need to pull back, and you start need to protecting your backline. And I think that's where things went wrong for Navajoa.
Yeah. It's hard to retroactively go back and talk about like draft errors when really the game was just lost because the Baron stole it, right?
Yeah.
If they get that Baron, then they definitely don't lose right there. They might lose the fight, but they definitely don't just instantly lose the entire game. So I think because of that, it's hard, but the thing that would have been problematic for Navajoa if it did go late game is actually that magic damage. And when your main physical damage force is Jarvan, that's not going to be consistent if the game does go to the Elder Dragon like limits, like we saw in a lot of the games yesterday. So maybe to combat that, you pick something like a Riven jungle, because you're not building full magic resistance if there's a Riven there. The Riven will just shred you to pieces. So that's something that maybe they can consider on Navajoa's side. But yeah, hopefully they just mental reset and they don't let that Baron Smite get away from them.
Yeah. It's also a tall order just to tell Nam, like, hey, have you ever played Riven before? No? Too bad. You're playing Riven jungle.
I suppose that's true.
We don't know what Nam's champion pool is really like, and that's why, and now, I think you could consider, like, maybe an Olaf. I would imagine that most of the junglers here have put some games into that champion, because my personal advocate would have been a Graves, because that's a marksman, and you just put him in the jungle, and then you can supplement your damage there. But then you lose out on crowd control, right? And then you're really depending on Gragas and Nami to set up the engages for you. And I think then it changes the way you play as a team comp. You can no longer go forward. You always have to be kiting back. So maybe that's better for them stylistically. Who knows?
We're about to get a taste of this. We're getting the draft here relatively soon. The players gotta recharge after. That's just such a devastating way to lose a game. And I mean, for haters as well, they're like, well, cool. it's not really one of those ones where you're like, nice. Oh, yeah, we played that so well. We did everything right. Not really. It's just the Baron steal.
They had one good fight. They had one good fight before the Baron.
The fight after that was good. I don't want to like fully take away from what haters showed us in game one. I think they're not just completely down and out if they don't lose that, if they don't get that Baron, but it's one of those ones where you're just out of that and you're like, I'm going to clipping that, and then like, I have to see how close that Baron was. If one of them did clip it, I want to see it. Please send it to me.
It's one of those games where if Alk Battery was with us in the call and we're on hater side, it would have been like, oh. Well, they just threw the game, no? I guess we just win, no? All right, well, that's a game. Where, like, Alk Battery just has this tone of voice where he feels like I didn't really work hard to earn the win there. They just gave the game away.
It's the same tone of voice when we're playing Dragon Lane together, and I'm like 4-0 and he's 0-0-4. He's like, well, I mean, I guess we're winning, but
but I'm not having fun.
my Nami has all the kills. I mean, really though, on the real, if I've got all the kills, then he should probably just be doing more damage. Really, I'm just dealing way too much damage on Nami or like Thresh or something. It's the times where it happens the most often, I'd say, are when I'm playing Set on League. When Set gets in Wild Rift, by the way, it's over for all you. But when I'm playing Set, it is like actually impossible to deal less damage than I'm doing, because the punches do like 400 true damage in like the early lane. I'm just like, I mean, I can't give that kill to you. If I'm going to use that spell, we're going to kill him, and if I don't use the spell, we don't kill him, so I have to take it. So.
Yep. True punch, or
I hope Set joins very soon. I want some Set gameplay.
Oh, what would be next still Wild Rift champions. Because I know that they mentioned talking about Vex apparently coming to Wild Rift, which I don't know. I saw what the champion could do in League of Legends. I don't know if I'm ready for it to join Wild Rift. They also talked about Viego coming to Wild Rift. If Viego comes to Wild Rift,
Those two champions sound like coding nightmares. They actually were very public about how both of them were really difficult to implement in League already. Like, Vex was supposed to come out a while ago, but they couldn't get her in time because the Shadow was really hard to program. So if they find out how to put those two champions in Wild Rift, then hats off to the Riot team. I'm sure they're going to do it eventually, but it sounds really hard. Whereas Set, all he does is punch. So
shout out to Saitama. Yeah. I just call him Saitama, man.
Exactly. That was one of my favorite comps in TFT. Although it's definitely just cheese. It's not actually very good.
One Punch Man, hyper roll set.
You give him Infinity Edge, like Bloodthirster. Very funny.
Well, so far, Navanqua and haters have not changed up anything in their pick and ban phase, although this Orianna is coming in slightly sooner, so I wonder if the Camille ban does not come through this time, and they feel like something else needs to be changed here.
You ban the Galio. Andrew did just steal a Baron. And maybe it's just too emotionally scarring for you to have to play against again. Could be an option. But Japan's out of order don't necessarily mean that they're going to change anything quite yet. That would be the Camille. If they decide to stick completely with the same game plan and the Gragas first pick, could be the option.
Wow.
Oh, there it is. I don't blame him at all. Yeah.
Guys, the Galio stole Baron. We can't let Galio come through again. It's too powerful.
If I play against Galio again, he will appear in my nightmares tonight. We are banning it.
I mean, to be fair, the fact that the Galio is now a flex pick, or shown to be a flex pick between Andrew and Vale, I think gives haters a huge flex option. So taking that away opens up the pool. But now I wonder if haters are going to slam Camille within this phase of the draft, because being taken away, you can look for... And we got Senna, too. Okay. Well, this is going to be neat.
Just a slam on that Camille. Navanhua still prioritizing this Galio, or Gragas, excuse me. I'm going to be picking that one first once more. But as you said, Senna, a pretty exciting champion. We've seen crazy strategies with this one across the world. Pretty excited to see if they... Yeah, I mean, Senna Nasus has been the flavor of the month for North American League. Wow! What we get Happy's Rengar again.
Rango the Django has reappeared for the haters. And this time Navanqua are going to take away the Xin Zhao and go for Braum. So not the Nami, they're looking for something more defensive. Does this... The Braum shield should block Encore if he stands in front of it, correct?
Yeah, it does, yeah. Oh, it is Senna
And there's Senna Nasus!
Wow.
Surfing mid! Okay! Okay!
Cool. Now,
this is sick.
This is something you have to consider on this patch. They did nerf one interaction with Senna Nasus, and that is Font of Life. They specifically nerfed it for... Well, him. They didn't say they nerfed it for Nasus, but I'm pretty sure that's why they nerfed it. It heals you for less off of the AP ratio, specifically. So, the AP version of Nasus, which does run Font of Life, you get less healing, now that it is patch 2.4b. So, slightly nerfed. The damage is still all there. Wither is still exactly the same ability, and you can still Spirit Fire and do a lot of damage, and be a pretty good support for champions like Rengar and Camille, who are diving AD threats.
Yeah, the Spirit Fire armor reduction is going to be not necessarily for Apex, because you deal true damage anyway off of your second cast of Tactical Precision, but for Rengar, though. Alright, Happy. I know you went like a Duskblade GA build before. No GA, just full lethality. Empty head, no thoughts. Just spam savagery off cooldown and trust that your team is going to pave the way in terms of armor reduction. And
Tonight we hunt.
that's right.
Rawr.
It's my Rengar impression. I can do a Nasus one too.
The cycle
really?
of life and death will live.
Man, see, we have nice tenor voices, but we're not blessed with the range of a baritone, so we can't actually get into the low.
Maybe I should have gone for the yordles that Navanhua picked. You're nothing but a whiskey delta.
See, there you go. That's a little more natural. I can only reach the baritone levels by like going demon mode in my voice. You know.
Yeah, let's save that for the after party.
Well,
Maybe we're gonna need some more hydration checks if you start doing that on the cast.
True. The after parties that Hape is looking forward to is the ones where he is feasting on the bones of his opponents because he wants to build up that bone tooth necklace passive. So, I know it sounded a little grim, but when you're in the Wild Rift, anything goes, and no prisoners will be taken. No mercy here in this dojo.
Scary stuff. Those Rengar is warranting of that. But... You know, now that I'm thinking about the mechanics of the bone tooth necklace, what bones is he using? Like, are they teeth? Because teeth are bones, but like if he's using teeth, then why even say bone? Like, wouldn't it just be teeth necklace?
But that's not as cool.
Well then, but like, does he use teeth for the thing? Like, is he stealing teeth from?
I imagine that he
Gragas?
kills them and that like yoinks a tooth out. He is like the anti-tooth fairy, essentially.
Well, he's gonna have some lopsided teeth, I'd say. I mean, Ziggs has some pearly whites, but he's a Yordle, so they're probably a lot smaller than Gragas's teeth.
See, but if you think about it, each tooth is like a trophy to Rengar. So, and even if they don't have to look like each other, they're just unique, and that's the appeal. Does that make Rengar a serial killer?
I mean, yeah, that's his whole thing.
I guess I always just figured he was
entire...
a hunter, not necessarily a serial killer, but I have been watching a lot of Dexter recently, so now it's like I never connected the pieces before like that. I do want to remind everyone at home that the past three minutes have already passed, and because of Rengar's nature, he really just wants to farm up to level 5 so that he can have access to throw on the hunt. A lot of these lanes are pretty passive and do want to scale up, especially when the likes of Seraphine and Ziggs kind of handshaking it. Corki also wants to scale up, hit Essence Reaver and Solari Charge Blade before getting into really any big team fight. Same thing with Senna and Nasus. And so the only person that's really feeling kind of blue about lack of early game aggression is this Xin Zhao, because Xin Zhao, you just want to get up in the face of someone, but when most of your lanes are happy handshaking the lanes, then all you can do is just make sure that you're farming up as well, and being a strong front line by the time you get to the mid game.
Seems like mid game might be starting soon, though, as the objectives have just spawned. This is a pretty interesting spot where a good chunk of the people on the Rift are actually level 6 and 7 already, some of them. Not typical for a Drake and Herald fight, but it doesn't look like we're getting a fight at all. Just gonna trade the objectives once more. Something interesting about this, though, is that Apex did swap down to the Dragon lane, so putting some more priority down there, trying not to lose out on this turret. I think this is very smart, especially if haters are going to try to use the Rift Herald right away, because this way they don't lose out on the turret trade to get first brick, even while they have that objective.
If committed, Vale, Andrew, and Hape towards the top side of the map. Senna, or Nimble, is parking it in the mid lane by themselves here, but I guess ready to rotate. But this will give Nimble some time to pick up some free farm. It's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, and you don't necessarily get as many souls, but
another turret. Oh, Apex is diving in.
Well, what? Apex just traded in a 1v2. Okay.
Not bad. Calvin did a lot of damage there, though. I wanna point out, because that was like 600 damage in a less than a second that we just saw from a crit auto attack and the phosphorus bomb. Skorky already was just the... That was actually before the first item was even completed for Kelvin. That was pretty insane, but what's even more crazy is that Apex was able to keep the turret alive for so long and then get first blood on top of it, meaning that he gets a full Trinity Force now on Camille. Yeah, nice way to start off the game, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, look at how well ahead haters are. I mean, even before the first neutral objective, I didn't get a chance to point this out, but Andrew had foregone the boots so that they could complete the Ludens first before Buddha Ziggs was able to. And that gave them priority over the Rift Herald, whereas Buddha had to push in that last wave, then go for a reset. Thankfully for them, Navan Hua went for the Dragon instead of the Rift Herald, but this gold acceleration has been great for haters so far, and all of them are now on first item spikes. They might be looking to dive QView Nam, but Nam is also here to be here for the counter gank. Apex has a flash away. They're looking for a second re-engage, but no explosive cask will follow up.
Haters have some pretty solid scaling, though. We're seeing a lot of action around Apex specifically, but sort of just a diversion so that these tier of the goddess items can stack up. We got Fimbulwinter for Veil, or Winter's Approach, as it is right now. And the Manamune as well for Nimble. Scaling is coming for these two. That's the name of the game for them. And Nasus will be a pretty solid magic damage threat with the Spirit Fire. You don't want to get hit by the... It's another Nasus impression for me. I don't think my voice is ready for that one either.
Man, I can't get that low, dude. It's just... I feel it, and then it just, like, my voice gives out. See, I can, like, go demon voice, but it's not quite the
I think
same...
we're more suited for Seraphine.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah. I didn't
We
even
know
think
our
about it
niche.
until now. Yep, that's right. You know what?
Not a captive audience.
I'm actually I'm surprised I didn't pull it out during the last game. But you know what? It didn't seem like there was a moment that called for it quite yet. But maybe haters will pull off an immaculate encore, and we might hear the high note. Maybe not. Only time will tell.
Cross your fingers, Twitch chat. It is beautiful when it comes. The Quirky package popped, and we know why. Drake is about to spawn, and Navan Hua want to keep those stacking. Already got that first Cloud Drake on deck. And with this Quirky package, they can threaten for more than that as well. They're pushing in this mid-wave with their Ziggs. Haters have to play this very carefully. Don't want to play into all this extra power. Seeing that the Spirit Fire chunks a bit, so that's at least something.
Rest of Navakwa are on the bottom side of this this dragon pit. Not necessarily winning out on the mid priority, and you can tell that haters are comfortable with letting this dragon go as they're more concerned. But now that everyone is in the pit, Kelvin's got to be careful. Package already used. It separates up the fight. Apex and Happy are on the other side, though. Can they deal with the rest of the four members just ganging up on them? Nam is critically low, sub 100 HP. Beautiful flash tactical sweep from Apex, catching out on the Xin Zhao. Vietnam routed off by all four members of the haters that are still alive. A flash from Andrew's going to catch him out thanks to the high note. And the rest of the haters will start to turn towards the dragon. But neither team has smite. Buddha, he is sitting on top of a ward, though, so this could be tricky.
Oh, Andrew. Wow. What a
Wait.
charge over the
No.
wall. Barrier saves his life, but that was pretty close. Pretty cheeky play from Buddha. Ends up dying in the end. Haters, they walk away sort of confused about what just happened to their mid laner.
I've never known, because I don't think it happens in Peace in League of Legends, but I guess in Wild Rift you can catapult people over a wall with satchel charge.
Yeah.
That's kind of nuts.
You can do that as well. It's not consistent because you have to rely on the enemy's positioning, right? But the walls are sometimes small enough where you can do that. Like this wall right here that Hugh Vietnam is near.
Yeah.
You can pop them over that one. You can also do it with Flay as well. It's really difficult to do it with
What?
Flay. Yeah.
You can play someone over a wall?
Yeah, you can.
That's not real.
It is.
Fake news.
Oh, you're gonna... Okay. You're just gonna instantly say that I'm wrong? I'm the Thresh player here.
You're lying to me.
What?
There's no way.
Would never lie to you.
Well, I appreciate that, Smax.
Our friendship is shattered.
Whoa, relax. We haven't even played Monopoly yet. Our friendship can't even be shattered yet. That's the real friendship breaker.
Actually, we're trying to set up a game of life. We've been trying to do it for a while. And by trying, I mean we've said, hey, we should play a game of life, and then we don't.
Okay. Well, maybe we can discuss those plans once this series is over. However, series is still going on because haters, they are still biding their time. They're comfortable with scaling into Oblivion because when you look at this composition, Smax, every single character benefits from a further item power spike. There is no realistic fall off. Hape can continue stacking physical damage on top, and it just makes the kind of the threshold ratio for Navanhua's carries that unless they have stasis, this Rengar will just eventually get to the point where he can one-shot any squishy here. And whoa, that's an interesting Valkyrie. Beautiful block, though, from that way, taking and making sure that the Encore does not connect to Kelvin, who did step a little too far. Throw the Hunt was popped by Hape, but is going to have to pop it here, thanks to the War just catching him out. But now, the rest of haters maybe looking for another pick here.
I'm definitely going to go down unless he flashes and ults away, which he does. That huge bomb from Buddha shredding through and popping all the members of haters. They're so low. The Senna sustain is here. Happy is going to have to go into the Guardian Angel. Can he survive this? It's not likely, but
Buddha?
Can he trade a one on the way out that way? Makes his great escape. And Hugh Vietnam saves his support by getting another kill onto Happy. What's going on? Apex isn't even in the fight.
He's like, don't worry, guys. I'm going to get this turret. I got it. Both haters and Navanhua kind of lost their minds a little bit.
Me too.
Everyone's losing their damn minds. This is Wild Rift, ladies and gentlemen. Chaos on the map always. Constant fighting. Apex trying to look for Kelvin. No package, no Valkyrie. Flash into the Hextech Ultimatum. Jesus. I don't even think that was the second part of the tactical precision. That was just the first. This was the first proc. Took Kelvin right away.
Camille do be hurt. As my my analysis of the situation will go. 2 items on this champion.
Yes.
There's room for a third, I believe, with 11,000 gold. We're probably just going to watch as another one just pops into the inventory. And... hold on. Just wait. It's a death dance. Yep, there it is.
Damn. Death's dance. Well, that is the dance that Apex do be doing, as they say, the dance of death, the baila de los muertes. Spanish lesson 101 for you. Dragon being started up, 5,000 HP. Fight breaks out. Beautiful, yeah! From the Encore, catches 3 members. Explosive Cat's trying to try to break up the fight here. So many low HP members on the front line as Nom tries to dive into the back line, but Andrew and Nimble are still untouched. They're still pelting out damage, and now it's going to be all up to Buddha to see if he can match, but the front line is already eviscerated, and that way has to run because he is low on HP as well. Vale, Andrew, and Nimble still alive. No jungler, no Baron laner to survive, but they're going to try to push out the fight. Beautiful root from Andrew. Does not set up, though, for Vale, as one more auto attack is not going to kill him because it's a beautiful shield from Andrew.
Ooh, this is really tight situations, though. Buddha still alive means you can't actually go for anything. He's in range of all these bombs. His ultimate's even coming up as well. Haters have to disengage with the Drake and the Baron still alive. Winning the fight, though, is a good move for them. The yeah from Andrew. We finally got it.
It was a good encore, man. Andrew, like, clipped 3 people. I think he hit a 4th in the back line as well. That was
nice.
Oh, 4,000 gold now.
Well,
it is round 2 of the Dragon Smacks. Let's see how it breaks down.
Linkage is still available to watch where Kelvin decides to do it. He's locked up into the Camille Hextech Ultimatum, though, trying desperately to get out, but he can't. Finding one kill on the backside for Navanhua, but Apex dives over this wall. Can Buddha run away? Yes, he can. It's a 3-for-1 in the end for Haters, and they've got more than enough members to go for Baron, but will they even do it? Is Buddha still up?
Damn, Haters are playing so well today. Overall, I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie, Smax, compared to the matches that we saw yesterday, it seemed a little bit more back and forth, inconsistent, but today, Haters just, the team fighting has been so clean, especially with this composition, and both of the backliners, Andrew and Nimble, are spacing themselves incredibly well, making sure that they're still maximizing damage while avoiding a lot of these crowd control abilities, and even some of the skill shots from Buddha as well. So the Haters are in a really strong position to close out this game. Now, I say that, there's still an Elder, there's still a Baron, and we saw that Navanhua were the ones that were mostly in the driver's seat for game 1, and they flipped it, and they gave it away. Let's see if Haters will make the same mistake.
Apex just coming into this with such a clean strategy. He has this, or they have this really strong set of items, and they know that one Corki package isn't going to be enough to kill them. So just diving on top of Corki means that Kelvin can't get out of anything, and they can't make use of the package at all. You can send it slightly forward, but you're going to get stopped by the Hextech Ultimatum afterward. Exactly what we saw. And for Haters, that's what this front line's all about. You have Camille, you have Rengar. These two just dive in with no holds barred and play distraction for the scaling backline here of the Senna and the Seraphine, and even Nasus as well, who's got a lot of items now, more for the tank variety, which I appreciate. This is going to be a force of nature. We're seeing the fruits of the labor of the draft fall apart for Navanhua, where they have full AP. Can't kill Vale.
Can they? They're getting close, but wow, the Font of Lies and the healing is just keeping him topped up. They finally take him down, but they've burned a lot of cooldowns and they've burned a lot of HP bar members. Happy tries to come in for the assassination onto the back line, but doesn't have enough damage, I should say, to find the killing blow onto any of these members from Navanhua. They don't really give up anything for it. It looks like the only thing that was lost was a little bit of a push into the inhibitor turret on the bottom side of the map. Now that that lane is exposed, it is going to be a thorn in Navanhua's side, because that being the bottom inhibitor turret exposed means that is the farthest one away from this Baron, which seems to be the next objective of choice, but they've pushed out the lane far enough, and they want to try and force Haters to come to the Baron rather than go towards the open inhibitor.
Apex has teleport. I feel like they could definitely get away with just diving away, but wanting to go in forward, Raafaa, they're going for it. There's the Hextech Ultimatum!
Oh, Happy is trying to get into the Baron, but it's only 4k HP. It looks like they're dropping the turret aggro. They're trying to turn on to the fight. Happy still has the GA, so it's going to pop, and he's going to get a resurrection. Teleport is coming in for Vale. He joins the fight. Encore doesn't really hit anyone, but it still is enough for Haters to run down the rest of the members of Navanhua. That's a huge ace, and Smax. Haters have done it. They've eliminated Navanhua, and they'll advance into the semifinals.
That's a 2-0 for Haters, Raafaa. We did not know what to expect based on Navanhua's games yesterday. We didn't get to see them on the stream. We did see Haters, and while yesterday didn't look as convincing, today sure as hell did. What a performance. What mechanics as well in these fights on different strategies as well. Game 1 looked nothing like this one in terms of the champions that they drafted. But Haters don't care. They're good at everything.
Man. I am... And that's not like a man. That's like, whoa. Good Haters. That's all I gotta say, man. Like, I'm really impressed. Because the play yesterday was nowhere near as clean as this. Haters still had strong performances, but there's a lot of fumbles in terms of execution around certain team fights. The backliners were stepping a little too far forward. But this time around, I mean, it's really, really impressive stuff. And if they continue performing like this, I think that they will have a strong case going into the semifinal bracket. Because if I remember correctly, their potential opponents would be either Chonk Chortle or Team Snow. And Haters already have a good track record against Snow. So if Snow were the ones to advance, then I mean, Haters look better than you know how they played yesterday. So I'm definitely confident. Now, if it's Chonk Chortle, then this is going to be an exciting matchup.
Right. I think for Haters, the second game is just so much nicer for them to find, because you remember what happened in the first game. They won it off of a Baron steal that came from their mid laner of all people. It wasn't even a smite steal away for Happy. Winning a game like this just completely shuts up the Haters. I mean, or lets them talk more in this case. The Haters are the ones doing the winning. It's got to feel really good, because you and I, we were making jokes about before. We're like, well, I mean, I guess we won. We got the Baron. We won the fight. Let's just win. This one, in their hands the entire time. Team fights looked so solid. And I think, you know, the Seraphine Encores were pretty sick. My MVP has got to be Apex after that one. The precision protocol, that's Camille ability, but also it's just true for what they were attempting to do onto this Corki every single team fight, completely shutting down the package, which we've been watching the wildrift Summoner series for the entirety of it, and Corki package has been one of the best abilities in the entire game. To see that one just shut down with such precision every single time, knowing exactly what you have to do to counter it, I just loved that use of counter pick, and it's so cool. I'm just really blown away.
Well, as you can see on our lower third below, Chonk Chortle were successful in defeating Team Snow 2-0, just like our friends in Haters 2-0ing Navanhua. When we come back from this break, gamers, we will be featuring our first semifinal of today's top 8 bracket in Haters and Chonk Chortle. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting ready for our semifinals action here for the top 8 bracket of our last day of the qualifiers, the third second of Wild Rift Summer Series, which is brought to you by Riot Wisdom and Nerd Street. As always, it's Raafaa and Smax, aka Rex City. You know, we're not going to say the last part. You know, just got to keep it family friendly. I know Smax has been pushing me to keep it nice for the kids at home. You know.
Yeah, we got to be presentable to everyone at all ages. We're rated E for everyone here. It's not anything above or below. I don't know if anything is below E for everyone. Not that I'm thinking about it,
Yeah, I think in terms of video game ratings, E is like the standard. I know there's actually like... I'm actually curious about this.
Like, this game is made for toddlers.
I think because... There was something like that.
We're trying to be presentable for toddlers as well, I'd say. Like, if you're a toddler out there, let us know in the chat. Any toddlers.
Hey, you got to start the gamers young, man. I mean, like, nowadays, before we had smartphones, like, kids as young as, like, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I started playing video games when I was 3. Do you know what my first video game playing was, Max?
Tell me.
It was Quake 2.
What? Really?
No cap.
We were 3 and played Quake?
I was playing Quake when I was 3 years old. I will talk about that story later because we got to show everyone the bracket because we have some surprises.
Yeah.
First of all, we thought Code Blue was going to take over Chunky Monkeys, but it was Chunky Monkeys that swept them under the rug. 2-0. They advance off to the top of the semifinal against Rock Solid, who 2-0 Team Menace. Look at this. All 2-0s. Does this mean we're just going to get sweeps into the grand final, Smax?
We might. We might have an early night, as it turns out. But not too early, of course, because we still have this matchup against Haters and Chunk Chortle, the matchup against Rock Solid and Chunky Monkeys, and then the finals after that. So we've got more Wild Rift action for you all, even though it's all been 2-0s. Rafa, let's take a closer look at this first matchup of the semifinals that we're going to be watching. We have Haters, we just watched. And they are going to be taking on Chonk Chortle, who 2-0'd their group yesterday. And while they had some really close games on the stream, they had also ridiculous pop-offs, most notably Molly's Katarina. And I think if you're Haters, you should probably ban the Katarina.
You definitely don't want to let it go through, because we already found out after Chonk Chortle's series yesterday that even when they had the things like a Twisted Fate, a Galio, it didn't matter. All this crowd control you can throw towards the way of Mally, and it's just like, nah, dude. I'm still playing Katarina. I'm still going to spin win and go Beyblade on all of you. Beyblade of Death. Now, will that be the same against Andrew, though? Because Andrew has shown us a Galio and a Seraphine performance.
Yeah, it was yesterday, as they did play against each other, Chonk Chortle and Haters. And Chonk Chortle got Katarina game 1. It went as you would expect. Molly got MVP. I'm looking at the match history right now, 10 kills. And it was against both Galio and Twisted Fate that game also. So he's very practiced against these two champions. And here it comes. Haters are about to ban Katarina. If they've done their research by playing against Chunk Turtle yesterday, I think they have. It's coming. Oh my god, that's not Katarina. Alright, well, they've got more.
There are other things that also need to be banned here. Although, trying to see what would be the next thing on the line here for this squad. Now, Haters, they are, wow, the Diana, they respect the Diana, but they don't respect the Katarina.
They'll do it. Just wait. It's happening. They will drop their ego. They will ban the Katarina.
If they don't ban the Katarina, then I imagine Haters are just slamming a bunch of crowd control. And they're saying, you know what? We don't care what Nori does. We don't care what 80s does. They did. Okay. All right, Haters. What do you got for us? What is the ultimate screw you, Katarina composition. Senna has been locked away for Nori after they saw how well Nimble was able to pilot it alongside the Senna Nasus combo. Now, haters, you better start slamming some crowd control. Okay, that's one way. You got Gragas and you got Nami. Not a bad start.
Chalk Chortle locking in the Sen is actually pretty surprising to me, because for Hestia, I think she's been one of our most prominent enchanter players across the board for yesterday and today's games, as we did get to see match history for their games earlier. It was a 2-0 with Janna in both of them. Not this time, though. It's going to be Senna and the Nasus. I would imagine that Hestia's the one playing the Senna, but we're going to find out. It's a cool lane adaptation to show us that Chongchortle have more in the tank. They don't need to change their mid lane, though. It's Katarina. We told you, haters. We told you this was going to happen. You knew this was going to happen. You can't be surprised now.
Okay, but you know what? They have crowd control in almost every single lane. Kai'Sa doesn't offer any, but it's okay. If you cannot interrupt the Katarina with Cyclone, Explosive Cast, Body Slam, Justice Punch, Taunt, Hero's Entrance, Bubble, Tidal Wave, then you deserve to lose. I don't know. That's really harsh. I'm sorry, that was really harsh. Just like for haters, I mean,
double down.
They have all the crowd control. I mean, like, the only way that Molly gets a successful Death Lotus off in these team fights is through great patience. You're basically just waiting and waiting for all the crowd control abilities to be used. So I think that puts a little bit more strain on haters to make sure that they are either finding Molly successfully as the first primary target in these team fights, and then they look to clean up the rest, or they need to take fights slow and then wait for Molly to overcommit, and then you can just use all your crowd control abilities specifically on them.
Rafa, I'm hoping that you're ready for a quadra kill later on for Molly. You're saying that haters have all this preparation for this Katarina. You're saying that they've got crowd control out the wazoo, but we know it's coming. We know. Molly got a quadra kill against haters just yesterday on this Katarina pick. It wasn't even the only quadra kill that he got on the day. So I know it's coming. You know it's coming. We all know it's coming. And it's coming actually pretty soon. 80's in this mid lane getting more priority with the jungle 2v2. Oh, Happy's got the new Wukong skin. Very nice.
Oh yeah, the Jade Dragon. That one is a really cool skin. Yeah. It because the old Jade Dragon skin, it just literally was Wukong, but then with like a green vest. Now they actually changed up the skin of his hair. Oh no! Happy run! Don't let Molly pop off. Molly locking in Katarina just feels like Thanos all over again, and it's just I am inevitable, and just snapping his fingers, and then boom.
Yep.
Quadra kill already. But so far, first blood has been avoided by both teams. Chongchortle and haters having a heavy skirmish both in the mid lane 2v2 as well as the dragon lane duos, both 2v2ing it down almost to the death. But Nori and Hestia, this is so cool to see the versatility of Hestia's champion pool, because like you said, enchanters were really kind of the forefront and strength of her style, but now playing the Nasus, I mean, now it's like Hestia is a well-rounded player, and I think this is going to make Chongchortles a really scary team to watch out for if Chongchortles are one of the favorites going into the grand finals after the semifinals.
You're going to get wet. Splash!
Smax, have you ever gone to a water park and then you're on your way to the car, and then suddenly a splash of water followed you all the way from the pool and just smacked you in the face?
I can't say that I've had that experience. Oh, Molly. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Damn.
He just walked away.
Cool
he
guys
got up,
don't look at explosions, man.
and he walked away. Well done for Andrew. And Molly, you gotta know your champion's limits a little bit better than that one. All right, Rafa. Back to the bot lane thing. I think that's more interesting than what we just watched.
Are you sure? That's pretty.
I guess it's happening again.
It's a pretty dope solo kill. I mean,
it is pretty cool.
Andrew being able to walk out, advantageous one on that one. Notice how Molly barrier flash, respecting the ignite flash from Andrew. It's unfortunately it's not enough, but huge first blood, and Andrew is building a dead man's plate first.
Oh,
is that what I'm seeing?
I do believe that is what you're seeing. It's what I'm seeing. I think we're looking at the same screen. So, yeah. We'll see what that entails. More movement speed for Galio is always fun. Get to neum, taunt. Brr, I'm Galio. Justice punch.
I wonder if it was a reaction to just all the longsword starts from everyone on the Rift. I mean, this is... like you said, more movement speed. It gives him a little bit more mobility and immediacy to react to plays on the other side of the map. He does have Hero's Entrance to aid either Apex in the top lane or Nimble and Veil in the Dragon lane at the bottom. They've rotated their Dragon lane duo over to this side of the map, trying to prepare for the Rift Herald crash, and the rest of haters are moving in.
It's actually going to be just a full 5v5 team fight. Apex arriving, but realized on haters' side that turret is going to be dead no matter what they do. Rift Herald was already in position, and the full commit to the Baron lane falls pretty flat, I'd say. Or Chonk Chortle, they get to walk away scot-free, it feels like. They got this Herald, they got to take the full first turret, and they can move back onto the Rift with their scaling forces. Senna and the Nasus have their tier items now, and those stacks completed is the main priority for them now. For Chonk Chortle, they don't have a very strong scaling front line, I'd say. Their team is very built around early game, but when you think about what Nasus and Senna can provide later on, you don't actually necessarily feel confident betting against them.
It's always a scaling threat that you just have to be wary of the later the game goes on. Andrew in the side lane in this Dragon lane against Molly. Looks like the duo lane went both mid. This does eliminate some of Andrew's ability to react to a Baron side of the map, a play on the Baron side of the map, but if things get dicey in the mid lane for the Dragon duo, then he will be able to respond with that Hero's Entrance, and Molly can't necessarily stop him. It's all damage. No crowd control to interrupt Andrew's ultimate ability.
That's something that Chonk Chortle will have to think about as well. They don't really have too much crowd control on their entire team. They've just got these point-click stuns from Pantheon and Renekton. And past that, you're expecting a Wither and a Senna route to do most of the work. This is the downside of not going for a more traditional Enchanter or for Hestia. Something like a Nami or the Janna provides you with a lot more. Or even like a Lulu Wild Growth is very helpful, but trying this different style. I think it's important, again, to remember that Hestia, her champion thus far, her pool hasn't been more than Enchanters. She's been one of the best Enchanter players that we've seen in the entire Summoner series, alongside people like Selma, who've shown us really crazy Janna plays. Hestia really impressed us yesterday, and with the 2-0 on Janna earlier today, you can tell that this is a strategy that she is very proficient at, so moving over to this doesn't have the same consistency that we're used to seeing from just the draft, I'd say, for Chonk Chortle, but doesn't necessarily mean that the team fights are going to be bad for them, as they did get this pretty big lead thanks to that Rift Herald from before, and they're just farming up Storm.
Yeah, Chonk Chortles have really, thanks to that Rift Herald play and the way that they've allocated the lanes, despite First Blood going over to haters, they have climbed ahead massively in gold. Just considering the lack of deaths across the board and the lack of fights that ended up in kills, it's a solid 2,000 gold lead. Almost, sometimes it reaches 3,000 based on where haters are resetting on the map. First item spikes have already been completed across the board here. Black cleavers for both the jungler and the Baron lane. Muramana, not quite fully stacked up yet, still a Manamune for Nori. And, of course, Molly with the garage sale of items spikes. Haunting Guys, Prophet's Pendant, and then working towards that death cap.
At is coming soon, maybe on this recall, but Hades is more interested in flashing forward with a stun, trading flashes with Veil. Actually, I got that wrong. Hades didn't even have to flash, just forcing that one out of the Enchanter for haters, as even the Galio ultimate is here, but now Apex locked away on the bottom side of this fight, Raafaa. It's going to ensue.
Luan is trying to zone Apex away from the fight, ensuring that they can't get the explosive cast down onto the backline. 80's going straight for the backline, knowing that Veil doesn't have flash. Looks like Nimble is able to flash over the wall, and it really is just Thanos Smax every single time. You cannot stop Molly from being able to pop off in these team fights as Katarina.
It's not the quadra kill yet, but might as well be a huge wipe for Chonk Chortle. We knew this was coming. We knew that it was going to happen. We didn't know when, but it's not a matter of if. It is just a matter of when. Finally learn, and hopefully haters do too. Like we said before, they have played against Molly's Katarina. They should have seen this coming. They left it up, and now they get their punishment.
I feel like at this point, if you ever play against Chonk Chortle and you don't ban the Katarina, you gotta pick like Vi. I feel like Vi is just the ultimate like counter, because then you can just point and click, you press your ultimate, and then if you got follow-up like Galio, then you can just CC layer lock that. Because one of the things that Chonk Chortle did so well was thanks to Luan zoning off Apex. They burned the flash and then prevented Apex for a while being able to get into the fight. And so then as the fight started breaking out and open, haters were committed to trying to fight the front line and then peeling for the back line. 80's also doing a great job of using the Grand Starfall to just cause chaos, and that just split up haters' attentions. And so at that point, you can't just save all your ultimates for Katarina. You have to react to the other threats that are threatening your backline. But then chaos factors in Luan and 80's distracting, then opens up space for Molly to actually then just spin on people.
A lot of damage from Nori on the Senna. They have to run away at this point, though. 80's disrupting the backline, and Molly spinning to winning. They do finally take down Molly. It's a huge shutdown for haters, but the team fight is still completely a devastating loss. And just like you said, not 2 seconds ago, Raafaa, Molly may be the biggest threat, but he's certainly not the only one.
Luan just flashed over the wall after 80's was zoning off Nimble and Veil, and then once 80's backed off, making Nimble think that they were safe, in comes the Crocodile, slicing and dicing, popping the Dominus as well, being able to tank the turret shots. And yes, like you said, the rest of the hater squad, the 3-man, were able to lock down Molly, but when there are multiple threats, then it's just so hard. It's so hard to pick and choose, like, which threats do you have to deal with, right? And so now it just comes down to a question. Do haters need to change up their team fighting? Do they need to peel back for their backline so that Nimble and Veil are not consistently getting dove by these threats? Or do they just say, good luck in esports, and we're going to try to deal with the backline on our own?
Something's got to shift at this point as Apex getting run down by 80's. This is... yeah. You can't get out of this situation.
Welcome to Pantheon.
So strong. He didn't commit the flash there, so... oh my god. Okay. That was a clone. Ape with the sneaky moves. But yeah, I mean, Apex, you can't deal very well with this Pantheon, especially when you're going for the damage version of Gragas.
Rest of haters backs against the wall as this Baron buff for Chonk Chortle is allowing them to deal major damage to these structures. They have their junglers splitting on the bottom side of the map, whereas Luan is also taking a turret in the Baron lane. Great macro play, just maximizing the amount of gold that they are accelerating thanks to this Baron. They haven't broken up in the base yet, but the way things are panning out now, it is almost 13,000 gold in the lead for Chonk Turtles. They are so strong, Smax, that haters are just trying to hold on, and the first turret of the base is broken.
Already an inhibitor turret taken down. This is going to be another one aggressed upon Raafaa, but it's going to be a T-fight already.
Oh, Hero's entrance.
Molly's
Look at Molly in
doing
the back line. He's doing it again. There's no stopping this man. But it's not just a Molly gap. It is the entire team. Everyone working hand in hand to make this victory possible. The first game of the series is going to go over to Chonk Turtle once they deal with the last member and Andrew. And I'm just thinking towards the next game, Smax.
Yeah.
How do haters adapt? Because Chonk Turtle, we gave a lot of praise to haters in their series against Nava and Qua, and then Chonk Turtle said, that was cute. Watch this.
I feel like I got to do one of those, like, Wheel of Fortune presentations where I'm, like, holding up my hands, you know, and then, like, it's like one of those ones where it's like B space N, K space T space R space N, or like, so you see what I'm getting at right here? I can't visualize it.
B, yeah.
Okay.
I was like, when you said Wheel of Fortune, I just thought of a spinning wheel, and I was like, where are these things? But then I remembered it's like the fill in the blank. Yeah, it's like Hangman. Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is you should probably ban Katarina. Champion is way too good for Molly, as shown here. Most damage in the game. And I think that is definitely something that you just have to do, right? But now that Chonk Turtle, they keep their control group, I guess you could call it, of Molly. You know that Molly's going to pop off if you pick Katarina. They keep that, and they adjust other things around the Rift. They've got now a different flavor of bot lane. They've got a different style with this Senna Nasus. It's not an enchanter anymore. Yes, you have some utility from Senna, but it's not something that's going to disengage you in a team fight as well, right? You're not getting the Monsoon from Janna. You're not getting the Tidal Wave from Nami. You're not getting Wild Growth from Lulu or Polymorph. You're getting just Wither and then Spirit Fire, and that's it. So it's very different look, and it's still working out very well. You saw that Molly did do the most damage in that game, but it was by a very slim margin. It was, let me do the math real quick. It was only 215 more than Nori on Senna, who was just putting out so much damage with this build. This was awesome to see. And haters, they've got to show some more versatility.
I think that's one of the things about that's so good about Senna compositions when it's paired with such potent divers, right? If you have things like the Pantheon and the Renekton and the Katarina all just causing chaos and threatening the backline, or just causing frontline members of haters to try and lock down potent threats, then no one cares about the Senna. No one looks at the Nasus or the Senna and thinks, you know what, this Senna is doing a lot of damage from long range, but I've got to deal with this Pantheon first. I got to deal with this Katarina first. I got to deal with this Renekton first, because they're just kind of obliterating our backline. So I wonder if the play is then actually for haters, because both of the teams, for the most part, kind of handshook the early game.
Yeah.
Haters picked up the first dragon, but the first Rift Herald went over to the side of Chonk Turtle, and that accelerated their gold lead. We saw already that it helps the Senna Nasus just come online a little bit quicker, and then they're a potent backline by themselves, and the rest of the front line and the divers are hitting their mid-game stride. So for haters, I wonder if the composition or adaptation play is maybe not necessarily changing up the draft, but you want to see more action and forcing dives, accelerating Nimble on this Kai'Sa, right? Because he is the main damage, and he didn't really get to play the game because he was getting dove so many times.
You should probably change the draft slightly by banning Katarina. But other than that,
sure.
I think that's pretty fair. Like we I think the reason why I'm highlighting the versatility here is because Chong Chortle just showed us so much of it. This game. I think that's a really big deal. But I mean, that was one of the things that we complimented haters for in the previous series that we got to watch of them. Right? They played two different compositions, and they're one of the only teams that's pulling out things like the Rengar as well. So, and like the Galio Flex too is really powerful. They did get to play the Galio in this game. They did flex it to mid lane once more, but it's clearly not enough to kill Katarina with it, right? So you gotta ban that champion, and then from there, I think it becomes much more easy for haters to push forward.
Curious to see if haters will have side selection going into the next game.
It looks like they picked Lou based on this stuff we got here.
The lower third provided
Yes,
to by our
Lou.
awesome production team. Okay, well, and they do confirm it in our ear. So haters now being blue side. I wonder if, let's see. So Chong Chortle also opting into the blue side Varus ban. They wanted to prioritize the Senna. Now haters, if they're on the blue side, if all they change is they ban the Katarina, what do you give up? Darius, Diana, Twisted Fate were their bans last time. Do you let's say
Probably Diana, I'd say. I think Twisted Fate's one of the strongest champions in the game. I think Darius is a good takeaway from Luan. So if it were me, I'd get rid of the Diana ban.
Well, so what if you give up the Twisted Fate ban, but you're blue side and you first pick it for yourself, right? Because I understand banning letting the Diana go and not picking it up, because I don't think Diana is worthy of a ban or worthy of a first pick either. I think because then you could look to slam Senna for yourself this time around, or if you want to maintain Gragas priority for Apex. I mean, Apex didn't get to shine in this game as much, but we know how strong of a comfort pick it is for them. But they also played the Camille extremely well, which was a ban technically from Chong Chortle. So
lots of strategic moves can be put in place by both of these teams. I'm excited for Chong Chortle to be on red though, because the Senna first pick, maybe that's also a ban that you want to consider if you are in haters. Because I don't know if haters are really playing this pick as much. It takes a pretty big shift to pull off, I'd say. So maybe that's another one that just after a game one like this, where it is just so one-sided, you have to consider taking away as many tools as you possibly can, maybe giving up the ones that you initially thought you had to ban away too, like this Darius and the Diana Twisted Fate, this stuff, and you just force Chong Chortle to shift something, because this is clearly working very well for them. So I think that could be a strategy. Maybe you just triple down on that one. You ban Katarina, Senna, and Pantheon, perhaps.
Just change up all the bans right at the front of the get-go, and just force Chong Chortle to play something different. That could be an angle, because then you make sure that they are out of the mentality of that they were currently in, and you force them. Okay, they now have to play completely different. Darius can be kind of spooky, but you know, I still get flashbacks to four-man pulls, Rocket Belt apprehend from Darius, and that's just a viable engage, because it's like, hey, I mean, you saw what old Stridebreaker could do, and now it's just Protobell Darius here, and that makes his engages consistent and for the most part reliable. Chong Chortle, I don't see them ever changing up their bans, even if haters change up their bans, you know? I think they're not scared of Andrew's Twisted Fate. They're not scared of Apex locking down Darius, because they probably still want to go with Gragas if Camille is banned. Seems to be their most effective play. And so I'm curious, why are so many teams banning Varus on blue side? I guess they just don't want to play
Good
Varus.
pick. Yeah, that seems like the option for me. But as we're saying, I mean, haters, you just gotta you gotta throw some wrench into the mix, because this game, if you lose this one out to Chonk Chortle, you are out of the tournament. And Chonk Chortle, congratulations, they just qualified for the major. They've got another series after that, but this one is the one that matters the most in the grand scheme of the entire circuit and the entire series as well, because you're just trying to get into that, and then the finals is for seeding, right? There's no prize for the for the qualification. There is a prize for the major, so you are just fighting to get into that major tooth and nail. We've seen haters have great performances. The last time that these two teams played against each other, it did go all the way to 3 games. Haters can replicate the way that they won that game, and I feel like they've got this, maybe a reverse sweep in the cards, but you just got to do something different in this game. Let's actually just take a journey. Let's look at what it took for haters to win the last game that they played. So, Hape on Rengar. That's a pretty big one. Nimble played Varus as well. And I think for both of these picks, these are something that you can look at and go back to. Not to mention Andrew's Orianna, but for Orianna, that's probably going to get banned. That was the first ban for Chonk Chortle, as we are now into the draft, likely to see that one happen again. And based on the Varus too, you're probably going to have to deal with both of those champions being banned, but Rengar's still there.
Rango de Django, does he show his face once again? Is this the pocket pick that haters resort to, I should say, to bring themselves back and see a game 3? You can already see that haters are starting to consider.
Yeah,
there it is. There it is. It's like,
that's
all
what
right,
I thought
guys.
would happen last time.
Props that they tried. They tried. They let one game come through and they locked down a ton of CC. But Chonk Chortle just knew, like, hey, you know what? They can't. As long as we have multiple threats, then they have to pick and choose, right? And they don't have. I think that's the biggest thing from haters, is that you have all this crowd control, but there's not enough AoE damage that really came through to follow up on the CC so that you can hit multiple threats. You're really just AoE CC, but single target damage for the most part.
This is interesting for Chonk Chortle. They are the ones who are banning Senna, afraid of a potential first pick from haters. They know just how powerful this champion is. And this likely does mean that they are going back to Hestia on an Enchanter, which is my favorite strategy for Chonk Chortle so far that we've seen consistently, of course. That was really the only Sin and Nasus game that we've seen. Maybe with more, maybe that'll be my favorite for them as well, but just wanting to remove that possibility for haters. That's the biggest ban strategy so far.
Oh.
Haters, though, not banning Darius, but effectively doing the same thing anyway. They will steal this away from Luwan on blue side.
I was curious to see if Chonk Chortle would let the Camille go through. They're still going to lock down the best support that they can get for Hestia at this point with the Nami. 80s will return with the Pantheon once again. And it looks like the Camille priority is not going to be here for haters because they've already locked in their Baron Laner of choice with the Darius. I know that apparently in an off-screen game from Chonk Chortle, they played Darius Jungle, which is pretty dope. I would love to see that in action, but it's not going to be this game unless I'm being fooled or being boozled here. But it's Happy's Rengar, and we're going to get Andrew Seraphine once again.
Chonk Chortle just waiting for their counter pick pop-off player, so just making sure you have as much information as possible when locking in your 5th pick. Makes a lot of sense. Will instead, will eventually be the Akali. This is a champion that's tough to play against Rengar, I'd say, because when Thrill the Hunt is active, even if you're in your Shroud, you are still seen. You're the one closest to him, so that's something that Molly will have to consider in this game, and... do my eyes deceive me, Raafaa? This looks like a Seraphine Dragon Lane for Nimble.
Oh! Wait a minute. Whoa,
Wait a minute.
Wait a freaking minute. Do you really want to play Seraphine in a Lucian Nami? Seems...
Or is it a lane swap? Okay, it's a lane swap.
Oh!
Andrew's going to the Baron, or the Dragon Lane. Very cool.
Interesting.
That is interesting, actually. I guess Nimble is a proficient Seraphine aficionado.
Or maybe Nimble doesn't play Corki?
I don't know. Quite strange.
These lane swaps or role swaps are always so weird. Oh, but look at this. They evaporate the wave so fast that 80s can't even do... See? This is some dope adaptation already from haters. It's going to pull the attention of Molly, though. Is level 2. Can they turn this around? They've already locked down Luan. He hasn't burned the flash quite yet. Finally does it the last possible second. Oh my god! Say it ain't so. Molly gets first blood despite this level 1 invade from haters. Will 80s fall flashing forward on top of it. Apex also having to burn the barrier as well, making sure that he does not go down to that turret shot. They will be able to escape. And Apex is able to be a salvaging grace in that.
Oh!
We got more action. What?
Epe went straight to the dragon lane, Rob. He's got
push
more jumps,
Keep jumping.
too.
Keep jumping. Oh, my
Can't
goodness.
Get on to Hestia. Wow!
Woo! Welcome to the Wild Rift, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my goodness.
I'm flabbergasted right now as we see another roam. Vale is here in the mid lane trying to punish Molly. This is a consistent strategy for haters now. They've done this twice where they're sending multiple people in to push the mid lane, trying desperately to get Molly into an uncomfortable position. I think this is the perfect way to start off a game against this pop-off player for Chonk Chortle, this guy who's been playing in the Wild Rift Summoner series for the entire time on multiple different teams and making a name for himself on all of them. You have to shut this guy down, and that's what haters are doing.
Bro, Smax. We had a 4-man level 1 invade, and then we had a Dragon Duo lane getting ganked by level 2 Rengar. Dude, this
Are you talking past tense, Raafaa? It's happening again. This is the present.
Well, you better run, Andrew. Flash over the wall, realizing there's no Valkyrie to be able to get out alive. Happy does succeed in stealing the blue buff, but can he get out? That is the real question. This level 5 has a lot of durability. The rest of the members are chasing them down. Molly doesn't want to let them go away for free. He's going to make sure to push them off the turret. Not being able to get a free recall in. But man, this is we're seeing some very aggressive motions forward, and you know what? This is no more handshaking early games, Max.
True.
Haters are saying, you know what? We can't let Chonk Chortles get comfortably towards the mid game where they clearly out team fought us. We just need to start making them uncomfortable right now. We need to start just looking to make forced errors, basically.
It's pretty awesome. This is definitely a gap in what we saw over the previous game. Because like you said, they just sort of played a very passive game in the early, not going for anything proactive, waiting for the team fights to occur. Because we've seen haters perform very well in the team fights. Don't get me wrong. This is a fine strategy to otherwise employ. Hold on, though. Apex. Both summoner spells.
Yeah, Flash and Barrier will survive the onslaught that was the Grand Starfall from 80s.
Right. Apex gets to keep farming, though. This is a very resilient Darius. Andrew, the mid laner turned dragon laner, chunked super, super low. And, I mean, you can't really blame him in this spot. He is 1v2 permanently. He has not had his support with him at all. It is still the duo lane of Nimble and Vale, which I guess is the strategy taken from Cloud9. Now that I'm thinking about it, Vale hasn't actually gone to the dragon lane at all.
They've just been parking it in the mid lane, trying to make sure that Molly is not receiving as much experience. And to their credit, Chonk Chortle is forced to send Hestia towards the mid lane to make sure that Molly is not getting zoned off of creeps or poked away under tower. Keeps them sustained up top. But the nice thing for Chonk Chortle is that Nori is very content being in a side lane by themselves because it's a Lucian. You know, it's not like most other marksmen don't enjoy the prospect of being in a long lane by themselves, but as Lucian, you have a lot of tools to be able to fight one-on-ones.
Thrill the hunt hop. opt for Hape. Can he actually get to the Dragon Lane in time?
Oh, no!
That hurt my soul. You flashed for that too.
Smax, that hurts a lot because that happened to me the other day playing Rengar. Like, I saw this dude backing away in their jungle, and I was like, oh, I gotta get there, and I flash for it. I'm literally sailing through the air, and I see them about to be destroyed by my knife, and they finish the recall. And I'm just like,
man,
all right, FF.
At least it's not like a Kali Shuriken flip where you just fly across the map into the fountain. That would probably be worse.
That's your fault for taking it. I'll say
I'm not saying I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really tough for Hape. No flash now on the Rengar. Gotta wait for the thrill of the hunt to be there. And you don't get the shutdown Nori either. This guy has the most gold on the whole Rift now, just sticking around by himself in that bottom lane. And we're seeing the power that you can get from just trading the Drake and the Rift Herald if you stick around by yourself. Now Apex got a Rengar jumping to help him.
Yeah, Apex did have to flash away. Happy trying to get a lot of burst damage back down. Encore goes wide. 80s and Luan are able to escape the counter gank that was arriving from haters, but this gives a lot of time for the rest of the Chonk Chortle squad to make their way towards the Dragon Lane. 3 members strong. It's only Andrew quite now, and Happy doesn't have Thrill the Hunt, or actually it does. Gonna look for it.
Wow.
He just used it, but I guess it doesn't matter because Happy doesn't have enough damage to be able to fight back. Looking for Nori, but he flashes and dashes away. Andrew hasn't burned their own flash as well because Molly and Hesse were threatening to punish Andrew for the overextension.
Nori is looking so solid on this Lucian right now. A solo kill before gets to survive, or a solo turret kill, I should say. It's not quite the same thing, but it's still a ton of gold for him. Now with the full Solari Charge Blade complete, he gets to dash forward with all the confidence in the world. That is through Unbreakable Wall. My goodness.
How much is the damage reduction on Unbreakable?
It goes up to 35. It starts at 20, I believe.
Jeez.
So you should have it at 25 at level 8, if I'm remembering correctly. So you have 4 points in
That's
Victor's
still
Bite.
nuts,
You have
though.
a point in ulti and stand beside me, and then you've got 2 in
Yeah. That's still nuts. Like, what the heck? Well, I guess when you have a pretty fed Lucian, well farmed not only, in the side lane, solo XP, but also just accelerated. I mean, look at the level differences. I mean, Nori's a level above Nimble. Molly is also a level above Andrew. The level differences are pretty stark. And with the 4,000 gold advantage that Chonk Chortle has been able to build up thanks to their successes in taking these turrets on through the bottom side of the map. I don't know how haters are going to be able to recover. It's not a huge gold deficit, but I think things are going to be very scary once Molly yeah, Molly's already completed the Lich Bane, by the way.
Forcing the package right away before the Drake even spawns for Molly. And this might be a solo kill anyway. Andrew is so low. Perfect execution. Dodging out of the jump. Can he keep the dodges moving? Yes, he can. Molly flashes out too. And just clean as can be on this Akali.
And they're looking for the reinforcements. 80s came in with a Grand Starfall, which meant that Happy could not follow up and pursue. Luan has cut off Apex, calling right through Apex, cutting him down to half HP. Encore hits 2, though. Can they turn it around? But Happy is already slain by Nori. Luan is sitting and chilling in the back of the red buff pit. Will not go down. And that just means Chonk Chortles are just going to go for it. Not quite the quadra. Just a triple for Nori. Goes on a rampage before finally taking too many turret shots. Oh my god. Molly, you just killed this man. Don't do it to him again. Don't do him dirty like that again. Rockets flash forward. Andrew, but the barrier is popped. Molly will survive.
20 HP. Thank you to our producers for showing us that one. Molly is so crap. You thought that you could ban out his Katarina and you'd be fine? I thought that too, in all fairness. We were all wrong. Guys, assassin play holds no bounds on champion that you're playing. Diana, Katarina, Akali, it's all of them. He will kill you with any of them. Pick your poison.
I like how Molly has also just transferred the Katarina garage sale build into the Akali.
Yeah,
instead of the
true.
Death Cap, it's the Lichbane rush instead. But now they're working on the Death Cap. But man, it's literally. I don't know if I'll have to look into the numbers because I'm curious now. I don't know
I am too.
if it works the same way because it makes sense on Katarina. Oh well, Andrew's fine. He does take a lot of damage, though. It leaves him with the quarter HP and means he has to reset.
It was almost not fine, which is pretty incredible. Just sitting in mid lane farming, and Pantheon just jumps on you from the bush. You weren't kidding when you said that the mid lane was a lot smaller. You could jump from anywhere. Very easily accessible by ganks. Speaking of jumping from bushes, Hape now has this do go for another dive onto Chunk Chortle. Not necessarily as easy to kill. They jump onto Molly, they jump onto Nori.
Flashing forward onto Nori after Nori burning the flash. Molly's trying to follow back up with the shuriken backflip, but goes down. Now it's just up to Hestia and Luan and 80s. Can they turn this fight around? Tidal Wave is huge. Knocks up 2 people. Sends Veil to the graveyard as well as Nimble. But 80s is blinking low on HP bar members thanks to the bleed that Apex has been able to build up. Andrew now, no assassin in sight, is keeping him down this time around. Hestia has to flash away. 80 is also on the run. And haters do find a successful fight, being able to stop the bleeding from Chonk Chortles.
I was hoping to see from Happy there is diving in, no holds barred with this Guardian Angel, knowing that even if you get your health down to 0, you have another chance. You can instill that panic into Nori and Molly, who took a pretty greedy path, all things considered. Chonk Chortle really feeling the weight of that gold lead and their huge strength in these fights. Or to let it get to their heads there. Their positioning not the safest that it could have been, and Rengar the perfect champion to punish this. I am worried in the next fight, though, because Nori didn't get to spend gold quite yet, and now that's an Infinity Edge for this Lucian. Yeah, Veil almost just dies. If the minion wave wasn't there, he certainly would have. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Well, good night, Veil. That Braum shield is not going to be doing any work anymore. Chonk Chortles will be able to successfully take out the tier 2 turret. Oh my god, this would be so dirty. This would be so dirty. But Happy, thanks to the thrill of the hunt, will be able to spot out that all of them were waiting in the death bush, but Happy, getting vision from the ultimate ability, will be able to spot it out and ensure that they don't fall to a Fnatic strat.
Actually, a poorly timed package means the haters don't actually have this one for the next dragon that's spawning, but bright side is that Chonk Chortle are fighting for an objective anyway.
Whoa! Molly using the shuriken backflip right into the perfect execution. The first cast, trying to get onto Andrew, but a flash stun from 80s. Molly is trying so hard to be able to assassinate Brooklyn and goes right back in after saking out Andrew. Molly, you are so filthy on this Akali, bro.
That was so cool. He used a shuriken flip onto Hape to gain distance towards Andrew. Flashes to get the kunai in, and then just slides right on back to the scene of the crime. Absolutely ridiculous for Molly. No jungler alive, but there's an encore.
Apex got a lot of healing, though. It was a flash decimate right onto all 5 members, and even the tidal wave from Hestia is not going to keep him down. Whoa. Look at the dunks! That's 3 dunks for Apex and a triple, and that might have saved haters.
All comes down to the Barons here, Rafa. Can they survive through it all? Happy teleporting in. I think this just might be... Oh my god! No!
Wait, whoa.
Oh,
Apex,
no!
you gotta finish it! Yo, you gotta heal him up! Okay. Where's the smite? Did they not have smite?
What was that?
Okay.
He just got one shot by Baron.
Oh man, that was something right there. Oh, but they don't have a jungler for smite. Don't let Hestia steal it, guys. Okay, here's... All right, calm down, everyone. We're having a lot of shenanigans right now, but it's okay. Things are going back to normal for the most part. Haters have stopped a lot of the bleeding. They were down at least 6,000 gold at one point. Now they're only down 3. Chortle have not completely lost steam because you cannot disrespect this Akali yet. But Baron on their side, picking up the third dragon of the game, does give haters a little bit of breathing room as we head into the late stage of the game.
I am still collecting my thoughts after what we've just witnessed.
Understandable.
Baron just does so much damage. It's so funny.
I hate it.
Casts that, like, Kog'Maw ulti spell from the sky.
Oh, Living Artillery?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's...
Now we know where Kog'Maw learned it from.
Oh, wait. We need to get water before we do the Kog'Maw sound. Oh, they're looking for
This fight.
Apex, though. They said, hey, last time you popped off. We're not going to let that happen again. Encore does land on the Molly. They're going to try to change CC them down, and that's the Akali down. Now it's up to Nori. Can you be the damage dealer that the rest of the team needs? Luan is trying to buy time into the backline. Nori has been able to deal with Happy. Slays him down with the gun. Shoot him. Shoot him with your gun, Nori. Can they do... Oh, my God, they're actually doing it. Chortle get a full team ace just like that.
Absolutely ridiculous. They don't even need Molly to be alive in this one. The Encore finds out the Akali before Molly's able to use any of her spells. This might just be the end of the game, Raafaa. The death timers are pretty long. They've got these 2 cannon minions. This would be a 2-0 for Chortle if they accomplish this one.
5
they
seconds.
would qualify for the major. They're pushing for it.
2.
They're gonna give it a
Apex.
go. The Nexus is naked. Apex is coming.
2,000. Flash apprehend, decimate. But there's too many of them damage dealers onto the backline. Wait, he takes out 1, takes out 2. 800 HP. It's not going to be it quite yet, Smax. We thought it was going to be over. Apex still surviving. Molly is able to take down 1, but he might have saved the base, saved the game. But Molly still does so much damage. Takes out Happy before he is able to get into the assassination. He's still pelting him around. Molly, look at it. Triple kill. One more on attack would be able to lock him down for Andrew. And haters will not go down without a fight. But man, that was close, Max.
If I do say so myself, Apex is cute with that play. Amazing. Saving the game. By themselves. What? What was that?
Yeah, that was nuts.
I've never seen an apprehend flash before, but that was awesome. I didn't even know that worked. Apex teaching me new things about the game. Now, Chortle can take this Baron completely uncontested. So haters are certainly not out of the woods. Oh, that was Hestia's redemption.
Oh yeah. It's the red circle. Sorry. I'm still getting flashbacks to when was it Charm that stole Baron with redemption? It was
Braum,
a Braum. Yeah. That still is so ridiculously funny, man.
It's pretty hysterical. Chortle, they don't have that happen to them this time. Run away from the Rengar ultimate, though. Thrill of the hunt.
Luan is not there either. I don't think they have teleport. Elder has spawned. They've chased 3 members from Chortle away. Molly is pushing in this open mid lane. But the rest of the haters, that Elder Dragon would be the game winner. But the rest of the haters might be caught out here. Vale getting jumped on by 80s. A lot of chunk damage, but pops a lock of the Iron Solari. It's going to live for now. Molly rotating over to the Dragon lane, helping Luan push in and take down the second turret. 1 more turret will fall, and that means it's going to be all super minions coming on through. GA will be popped for for Molly, I should say. Oh, God. I think this is it, Smax. With this, Chortle, it was so close. But Chortle finally take things decisively. They end the game methodically. And congratulations to Chortle. They're going to be your first semifinalists that will advance not only into the grand finals of this top 8, but also be one of our last seeds going into the 3rd major this weekend.
Huge props to Chonk Chortle. Another 2-0 all the while. They 2-0'd in their quarterfinals. They 2-0 in the semifinals as they make their way forward into the bracket. I'm excited to see this team perform because we've seen Molly play on some other teams in the past. I believe it was Brawl Pros and also Cloud9. We're about to watch in our next game if Rock Solid can make it forward as well and be in the finals against Chonk Chortle. But if we get to see that matchup and then maybe even them play against Cloud9 as well, we get to see some cool narrative moments happen. Yeah, huge congratulations. They just formed this team for this qualifier, I think, right? Just yesterday was our first viewing of Chonk Chortle and qualified for the major.
Very impressive stuff. And I think the impressive thing for this game is that while Molly definitely caught our hearts with the Akali gameplay, I think all of our eyes were on Nori's Lucian this game because the Nori being given the gift of a dragon laner in a solo lane, no support to share experience or gold or resources with, means that you get to accelerate yourself. And Nori held himself well against Andrew, almost threatening a solo kill by himself, and then pulling a lot of resources from Happy as well towards the bottom side of the map. I want to say, for haters and any other teams that have not made it, as this is not necessarily the end of the road. There is one last qualifier. It doesn't go into a major. It goes straight into the regional championships that will take place at the beginning of October. But for now, congratulations to Chonk Chortle. When we come back from this break, we will be seeing our other semifinalists or semifinals in Rock Solid and Chunky Monkeys. And a winner of that will be taking on Chonk Chortle in the grand finals. Stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our other semifinals of the day between Rock Solid and Chunky Monkeys is about to begin in just a few moments. Maybe a couple minutes. Maybe, definitely not 2,000 years. That's what I can guarantee you. Don't worry.
Large spectrum.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you go for the very short, like, you know, just a few seconds, and then 2,000 years, you know, because sometimes 2 millennia is what it feels like. It's like, man, and you finally get out of the game. Do you ever just, like, sit back and you're just like, whoa, I just got taken out of the game? You know, and you gotta, like, walk around and stretch a little bit because you're just, like, you just gotta remove yourself physically from that series. I don't know where I'm going with this, Max. I promise you that there is a point to this at some point. But
right.
Before we get to that point, Max, we do want to remind everyone at home what the bracket is looking like. After the successful series from Chunk Chortle, they've advanced to the grand finals. Rock Solid and Chunky Monkeys, the winner of that, will not only meet them in that grand finals, but also be our other seed advancing into the major this weekend.
Is what these teams are fighting for in this qualifying round. And for this weekend, it's coming up very quickly. So fear not if you're a Chunk Chortle fan. We will not only see them in the finals against the winner of this next series, we'll also see them this weekend. Very exciting stuff. This has been a fun team to watch so far. And speaking of fun teams, let's talk about these squads right now. Because Chunky Monkeys and Rock Solid, these names at least are very new to the stream, but on the side of Rock Solid, you may have heard of these players before. We got OG and Hitman rounding out the squad from Brawl Stars Pros that you may have remembered, and they've put together some other team members on this squad, and most notably, I'd say, OG has moved to mid lane.
Yes. OG was playing the Dragon Lane for Brawl Stars before, but now is a mid laner for Rock Solid. See, everyone is role swapping to mid.
Yeah.
What's going on there? I'm also.
I guess you really should. You really should
yeah.
role swap to mid lane.
Dude, mid lane is so broken, man. Starting and starting. If you're watching, man, your role's broken, dude. You guys got the best chance. Honestly, I just want to. Because Yasuo's on Wild Rift, I want to play a lot of Yasuo. Yasuo's Rock Solid and a lot of expectations, but for Chunky Monkeys, I know when we were looking at the match reports and trying to get a little bit of a brief review over on that side of these players, one player you're really looking at is Blanks. Yeah, Mr. Smax.
Blanks looks really sick in the Dragon Lane on these marksmen. Like we said, we haven't actually gotten to see the gameplay on stream quite yet, but based on these post-game screens, this guy is getting MVP every single game on these marksmen that he's playing. He's got Porky, he's got the Xayah, and these are not necessarily easy champions to play, specifically Xayah, where you're trying to survive all of the dive that's coming at you and then reposition your feathers and get the biggest stuns possible, or snares, excuse me, possible. I'm really excited to see what he can do against this new bot laner. For the side of Rock Solid / Mercenaries / Brawl Pros, all of that conglomeration into Rock Solid now. Against Cold, who's the new member to the block there. We've seen some of these other players, Karibo and Webby Brob, on other rosters, but Cold is the new one, and he's getting OG out of the role that we've seen him play before on Brawl Pros into the mid lane. So, I mean, he's a Cold's got to be pretty good.
Could be that. It could also, I'm trying to think of, like, some analogies of, like, other former pro players whenever they role swapped. Sometimes it was, you know, like what you're suggesting that, wow, this player is so good. Like, I should be on the team, but, like, I'm not going to take this person's role because they're just that good. I'll role swap them in and it'll be fine.
Yeah, like Perks and Caps, right? On League,
yeah.
On GT.
Yeah. Perks just role swap to AD. I was like, yeah, if we got Caps, then I can just be a good bot laner. Or it can be like Piglet. He did role swap to mid at some point when he was with, I think, Team Liquid, right? Because then there's a